Hello, my name is Ali and today I am talking about my childhood books. So I read a lot as a child. I don't actually remember a time in my life where I didn't read books. I picked out a couple of my favourites to show today. Two of them that I'm going to mention I don't actually own anymore, but I'm going to mention them anyway. Firstly, of course, we have Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. I'm not going to show all the books because I'm sure you know what they all look like. I think I started reading these at a pretty young age. I was 5 when the first movie came out, so I saw that at Christmas. Pretty much from then on I started reading the books. I've reread them a couple of times and I'm actually in the middle of rereading the whole series again. I'm only up to the second book at the moment because I've been reading other things in between. But yeah, I love these so much. They're so amazing, as I'm sure you all know. Next, I have another big series that I read about the same time as Harry Potter, and that is A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. This is the first one, The Bad Beginning. Again, I'm not going to pick these all up because there are 13 of them, plus 2 other companion books. This is definitely my favourite series growing up. Next I have a couple that aren't very popular. This one is called The Divine Collection, which is Mel Beebe, Agent Angel. And this is like a bind-up by Annie Dalton. I got this in 2006 from my grandma and pa for Christmas. Yes. I only ever read, there's 3 books in this, I only ever read the one, which is the last one actually, called Keeping It Real. I think I must have read it like 10 times, and I don't know why I still have this. But the next one I have is Who Loves Lucy by Moya Sayer Jones. I got this one from my grandma, again, for my 11th birthday. I read this I don't know, 10 times. It was so good. And I really want to read it again. It's sort of like pre-YA. I wouldn't say it's like a children's book, but it's not completely young adult either. It's sort of like that weird space in between. Next, I have 2 favourites that I just recently rebought. I had only borrowed these in the library before, but they're my favourites, so I bought them. They were pretty cheap, and they're such beautiful editions. Anyway, it's 5 Children and It and The Railway Children, both by E. Nesbit. I think I must have read these in year 4, so maybe around age 9 or something. They're so much fun. I think there are movie editions of both of these. And I can only really remember the movie of 5 Children and It because I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago. But these are so good and they're so much fun to read. Yeah, and I think I must have borrowed them from the library 3 times to read them each. So yeah, I really, really love them. Next, I think quite a lot of you may have read these as well. That's of course some Roald Dahl. I have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda. This is obviously the movie edition. I grew up watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original movie, and I loved it, so eventually I got the book. Yeah. And I also grew up watching the Matilda movie. I think I must have seen that movie I don't know, 20 times at least. And I've read this book about the same amount. Next, and the last one of the physical books I own, is of course The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. As a child, I only actually read the first 2 books, which is The Magician's Nephew and The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I read both of them just before the movie came out, of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, back whenever that was, and I'm actually reading them, the rest of them. I think I've got 2 left, but yeah. Now to mention the 2 that I no longer own. The first one is... Actually, I just thought of another one. The first one I want to talk about anyway is the Sisterhood of the Travelling Pants series by Anne Brashares. I actually read those when I was about 9, and looking back at it now, they're definitely like upper young adult, sort of going a little bit into adult books, but I loved them when I was younger. The next ones are the Saddle Club books. I don't know if they have these in anywhere but Australia, but I used to love them, and I used to love the TV show, and I don't own any of them anymore, and I can't remember what ones I read. I'm just having flashbacks of all these like children's books now. Another one that I wasn't going to mention but just thought of were the Sleepover Club books by, I think it's like Rose Impey, because I added them on Goodreads not too long ago. I read quite a few of those, and I watched the original TV series as well. And I used to love those, they were so good. And then finally, the other series that I actually planned to mention were the Nancy Drew books by Caroline Keene. I think I started reading these when I was about 7 or 8, from the school library, and I read them up until I was about 13, which is when I went to high school, so new school, didn't have the same library. I loved these books. Like, that was, I was thinking about them the other day, and I've been talking to Ebony at Paperbacks and Protagonists about Nancy Drew, and she's been telling me all about the Babysitter Club books. I seriously love them, and I'm hoping to start recollecting them at some point, but the covers are so bad. There was something else that I think that from reading Nancy Drew as a child, that's sort of what got me into Agatha Christie, and perhaps reading at the same sort of time. Does that make sense? Like, I read Harry Potter before I started reading Nancy Drew, but I think Nancy Drew was what really made me love reading. Sorry, I had to change to my other camera because it died. I'm hoping that it got all the footage before it turned off. Anyway, that was my video. If you've read any of these books, let me know, and we can fangirl about them. And if you haven't, tell me about the books that you read as a child, because I think it's interesting, and especially if you think that those sort of books like influenced you to read others now that you're older. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be filming another video right after this one, so get used to this Sherlock top. Anyway, I will see you guys next week with that video. Thanks again for watching. Bye!